It's brand new. That's what he should have done.
Yeah. And here we go, game one of OFSSA out in Cobourg, Ontario. Chloe Rangette in the net to start us off. Avery, Jolie, Carrington up front. Ryan and Kalen on the point. And here we go. 15 minutes to go in the first. Puck's loose in the neutral zone. They take it in. Judd knocks that away. Picks it back up. Sends that around to Angus. The blue line shot gets deflected into the corner. St. Joseph gets it in the corner, and Judd comes in, takes it back. Hits the brakes behind the net, gets that to Chevrier. Chevy goes for a little skate, chips it up out of the zone. Pressure from the Cardinals, and Chevrier gets it back in the neutral zone. Enters St. Joseph territory, drives it to the net. Bryant gets a shot, goalie makes a save. Puck cleared out to the neutral zone, taking out the official. St. Joseph dumps it in. Ryan around the boards to Carly. Carly centers that to Alyssa. They chip it up center. Icing called. We're going with... Yeah, some good hockey so far. We got a 3 official system, 2 refs, 1 linesman. Choose Puck comes in the corner. Mayel ties up. Gets that to Bryant. Bryant goes behind the net. Cuts up center. Hands it off to Carly Shea. Shea gets over the blue line. Fires that on the net. Deflected by St. Joseph. Cole and Bryant with some pressure, but St. Joe coming out with it. Back in the Cardinal territory. Brooklyn Manini tying up behind the net. Loose puck picked up by Bryant. She goes for a little skate. Coming up through the neutral zone. Knocked away by St. Joe. Back to Manini. She puts that behind the net for Chevrier. Chevrier sends it out of the zone. Won't make an icing. Wow. She stopped skating. They let that go. All right. No big. 13:52 to go in the first 0-0. Puck goes off the side of the net. St. Joe picks it up. Behind the net, Ryan picks up the loose puck. Comes up the side with it. Into the zone, gets some help from Avery. Penalty coming up for holding on St. Joe. Power play for St. Charles with 13.5 minutes to go in the first. Angus back to Judd. She goes across the blue line, gets it to Chevrier. Chevrier, nice low shot. Rebound from Manini. Just over the net. Puck comes to the hash marks. Angus to Judd. Judd walks in, takes that shot. Glove save. 1:41 to go in the power play. Bryant knocks away the loose puck off the draw. Takes it to the corner, gets it back to Chevrier. Chevrier to Judd. Back door to Bryant. Bryant picks it up, gets it back to Ryan. Ryan to Kalen. Kalen's shot gets deflected, it's loose in front. Cleared away by St. Joe, picked up by Judd. Over to Avery. Avery walks in, gets it to Angus, back to Avery in front, can't get the shot. St. Joe fires that around the boards. Judd gets there, chips that into Angus. Angus to Manini. Manini walks in, gets a shot. Oh, it almost got it blocked left side. Chevrier keeps it in, gets that to Bryant. Bryant at the hash marks, cuts to the corner. To Manini in front, couldn't get the shot. Judd blocks the dump out pass. Gets it over to Ryan. Ryan fires a slap shot that's deflected out of bounds. 49 seconds to go in the power play. Puck comes back to Kalen, over to Ryan. She gets a shot, blocker save. Harris with some pressure behind the net. Gets some help from Cole. Harris gets a shot, it's top corner, holy Mackinac, it's 1-0 St. Charles. Power play goal, J. Cole to Brooklyn Harris. And that's 1-0 with 12:03 to go in the first. Minutes to go in the first, 1-0 St. Charles. Puck comes in our zone. White sends it out. Puck comes back in our zone. White ties up in the corner. Gets some help from Plant. No, sorry, that was Fletcher. Puck cleared out of the zone, off St. Joe, ice and waved off. J. Cole forcing the play down low. Gets a piece of it. St. Joe gets the loose puck. Bryant comes in though, keeps it in the zone. St. Joe gets it back, tries to go cross ice. Jolie gets it. Over to Jenna. Jenna back to Jolie. Jolie chips that in. Bryant follows it up. St. Joe picks it up in the corner. Fire that around the boards. White's there to keep it in. Some help from Palize. She gets taken out in the corner. The ref saw that. Penalty coming up to St. Joe. Imagine it's going to be body contact. Could be boarding, could be interference. And body contact. Yeah, she could crush Carrington in the corner. Puck comes back to Kalen. Down low to Jolie. Over to Avery. Avery cuts in with it, gets it in front. Knocked away by St. Joe. Chevrier gets it back at the blue line. Circles and dumps it down low for Avery. Avery picks it up in the corner. Comes out, walks out, gets a shot. Save is made. Puck comes back to Avery. Avery circles again, hands it off to Alyssa. Alyssa back to Avery. St. Joe gets in the way. They chip it up center. Judd gets the puck back in St. Charles zone. Fires it up to Bryant. Bryant takes it in the zone, hands it off to Manini. Manini puts it in front. St. Joe gets it. Chevrier with some pressure. That's cleared out by St. Joe. Minute to go in the power play. Judd picks up the loose puck. Gets it up to Avery. Avery through the neutral zone. Gets it deep into St. Joe territory. Carrington and Avery pressure behind the net. Puck comes out to Carrington. Off the ref. And Carrington gets it back, gets a shot, blocker save, and off the head. Rebound from Avery, put it back out front. Goalie jumps on that. 9.5 minutes to go in the first, 36 seconds in this power play. 1-0 for the Cards. Chevrier takes a shot off the draw, just misses the top corner. White keeps that in, gets it to Harris. Harris circles back, puts it down low to Palizé. Palizé tries a wraparound. St. Joe stops that and send that all the way down. Chloe plays it over to Mael. Mael sends that back around. Ryan ties up. Alyssa gets a loose puck. Alyssa circles back. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey, and then St. Joe trips us right away. Power play for the Cards. All right, 8:47, tripping called, power play, St. Charles. Bryant gets a shot, just wide of the net. Loose puck picked up by St. Joe. Angus ties up, Bryant gets a loose puck. Bryant and Angus in the corner. Bryant comes out with it. Bryant takes it behind the net. Into the hash marks, high slot, shot. Oh, I think the goalie got a piece of that. White keeps it in. White takes it behind the net. Gets it back to Judd. Judd down low. Shot is made. Save is made. Judd on her own rebounds. Just wide. Puck comes back to White. No, Bryant. Now it's over to White. White walks in, hands it off to Angus. Almost the give and go. Loose puck picked up by Angus. She gets that back to White. Over to Bryant. Bryant through the slot. Cuts in, hands it off to Angus. She gets crushed. We won't get that call. Chloe clears the puck down. That's going to be icing. 1 minute to go in the power play. 7:44 in this first period. Chevrier gets the puck off the draw. Comes up the side. Gets that to Fletcher. Over to Cole. Cole sends it down low. Manini with some pressure. Comes back to the blue line. Chevrier across the blue. Over to Judd. Judd walks in. Gets a shot off the melon. Loose puck. Cleared away by St. Joe. One-timer from Ryan. Deflected wide. Judd keeps it in. Gets it back to Ryan. Ryan gets the shot, deflected, save, rebound. It's in. That was in. Before the net went off, that went in, but that's okay. .708 to go in the first. 1-0 Cards. 21 seconds in the power play. Maybe it was a post, who knows. Puck comes back to Ryan. She fires that on net. Goalie makes a save. Rebound into the corner. It's cleared back to the blue line. Chevrier keeps it in. Cole puts it out front to Manini. Manini gets it on net. Goalie makes a save. Rebound comes out. St. Joe finds it. They take it behind the net. Off the boards. Now we're back to 5-on-5 hockey. St. Joe comes in the zone. Cuts out front. Pressure from Chevrier. Now loose puck picked up by Ryan. Ryan puts it up center to Avery. Avery takes it out of the zone. Red line, blue line, dumps it in. St. Joe finds it and heads the other way. St. Joe comes into the zone. Send it back to the blue line. Down low. Loose puck picked up by Alyssa. She turns and goes for a skate. Enters the zone, gets the shot, blocker save, rebound. Cleared away. Mayal White gets it to Alyssa. Alyssa back for Mayal, but St. Joe chips it out. Icing waved off. Interesting. St. Joe sends it to the blue line. Harris gets in the way, and Bryant gets the puck back. Bryant sends that down. That's going to be icing. .5:23 to go in the first period. 1-0 Cardinals. Puck goes in the corner. St. Joe keeps that in the zone. They send that down low, get a shot. Chloe with a save. Rebound comes out to the corner. St. Joe sends it behind the net. Chevrier gets there. Ryan sends it up center. Avery re-enters St. Joe territory. Gets it on net. Whistle goes. Angus back to Plant. Puck comes out. Back check from Palizé, knocks away the puck. White ties up behind the net. Support from Manini. What the? We're getting a penalty there for winning a puck battle. Wonder what the call will be. Interference. All right. So, power play for St. Joe. 4.5 minutes left in the first. Oh, net guard came off. She's going to have to... Quick net guard change. She's kicked out of the draw. Puck comes out of the zone. Oh, she steps on the puck on a re-entry. Ryan Chevrier gets the loose puck, fires it off the glass and out. Jenna with some pressure. She comes in, almost gets that puck. There we go. Jenna gets a stick on it, but tipped into the zone. Chloe's going to hang on to that. Minute 23 left in the penalty. 4 minutes in the period. Puck comes out of the zone off the draw. St. Joe dumps it back in. Knocked away by Brooklyn. She gets it over the blue line. St. Joe regroups in the neutral zone. Angus gets a stick on it, and Carrington sends it all the way down. 1 minute left in the penalty. St. Joe sends it up center. Pressure from the Cards. St. Joe into the corner. Brooklyn blocking the pass. Puck comes down low. Pass out front, blocked by Manini. And Brooklyn sends it up the boards. Kept in by St. Joe. But now Angus gets the puck out. That's interference! Oh. Could have been a hook, could have been interference. Anyways, Manini gets it back in the neutral zone. 5 seconds to go in the penalty as St. Joe re-enters the zone. They get a shot, big save from Chloe. Puck cleared up the boards, kept it at the blue line, another shot, another save. And we're back to 5-on-5 hockey, 2.5 minutes. At the blue line, shot blocked by Carly Shea. Loose puck picked up by Jenna Cole. She chips it up into St. Joe territory. St. Joe sends it back our way. Chevrier gets it over to Emma, up to Carly, across to Jenna. Jenna through the neutral zone. Gets taken out. No call there. There we go. Nice pressure from Jenna in return, since we're playing that kind of game. And Avery gets the puck. Avery into the corner, puts it out front. Shot from Carly Shea is in. Holy Magada. Manini to Shea. We got a 2-0 game. 1:47 to go in the first. That was an even strength goal. Go off the draws. Chevrier dumps it into St. Joe territory. They send that back out to Ryan. Ryan gets it into the zone. Manini gets a piece of it. Now it comes back to Emma. Emma circles back, finds Ryan. Ryan fires that up to Carly. Carly tips it in. Iced and waved off. Puck is kept in the zone by the Cardinals, picked up by Bryant. Yeah, it was Fletcher that kept that in there. Now it comes around to White. White in the corner with it. Takes it behind the net. Reverses. Sends it down low to Bryant. We got 1 minute to go in the first. Puck comes back to Brooklyn Manini. She gets a shot. That's blocked in front. St. Joe picks it up. Sends it up center. Pressure from the Cardinals forces them to dump it in. Brooklyn Manini fires it up center out of the zone. St. Joe gets it back in their zone. Start to head up. Pressure from the Cardinals, and we were going to get a tripping call. 30 seconds to go in the first. Power play coming up for St. Joe's. They pull the goalie, get a shot, glove save, and power play for St. Joe. I wonder which girl they're going to pick. Wonder which girl they're going to pick. They both put their sticks in there. Fletcher gets the tripping call. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was... I knew that was coming. Okay, puck goes in the corner. 20 seconds to go in the period. St. Charles sends that down. No ice because of the penalty. St. Joe's goalie plays it. 10 seconds to go. They start to break out with it. They enter the neutral zone. 3 seconds. They get a shot. That goes wide. Rebound. Cleared away, and that's the end of the first. 2-0 for the Birdies. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't go away. There we go. Second period action on the penalty kill for a minute and a half. 15 minutes in the period. Chevrier gets it off the draw and sends it deep into St. Joe territory. St. Joe gets it behind the net. Start to break out. Palize gets a stick on it, slows him down. Puck gets in. Chevrier sends it back out. St. Joe gets it back in the zone. In the corner, Jed steals it, chips it up center all the way down. One minute to go in the penalty. St. Joe starts to come up with it. They enter the zone. Knocked away by Ryan, and Avery sends the puck away. At the hash marks, St. Joe gets there. They go to the high slot. Back across. Shot deflected away. Now Chevrier chips it at it. Gets it out of the zone. St. Joe picks it up at the red line. Pressure from Avery. St. Joe gets in. Ryan stops her at the wingette line. St. Joe gets a little help. They send it back to the blue line. Chevrier chips it out of the zone. Jenna chasing it down. It might be an icing though. Oh, it is icing. Okay. Penalty had just expired. 13:15 to go in the second. Puck comes out of the zone. Jenna Cole gets there. She's got pressure from St. Joe, but she keeps her feet moving. Gets some help from Carly, and puck comes back to Brooklyn. Brooklyn sends that down low into the corner. Carly battles, keeps it in the corner. Two St. Joseph players, though, take that away. Comes around the boards. Brooklyn's there to keep it in. St. Joe follows it up, though, and gets it out. They get the red line, dump it in. Puck comes out to Avery off the bounce. Avery behind the net. Sends it up to Carly. She chips that in the neutral zone. St. Joe gets it back, chips it up. Re-enters Cardinal territory. They take it wide. Drop pass. They try to get it back to their defense. They don't connect. So no icing because St. Joe sent that out. Bryant with some pressure, and in comes Manini, intercepts the pass. The puck bounces out. Ryan Chevrier dumps it back in. Bryant picks it up, drives the lane, gets the shot, blocked by St. Joe. Judd's there to keep it in, gets that to Avery. Avery to Alyssa, tries to get that to Fletcher. Back to Bryant down low. She takes it behind the net, tries to get that to Manini in front, blocked by St. Joe. Bryant gets it back in the high slot. Gets a shot, blocked by St. Joe. Rebound by Reyna, gets that in front, but St. Joe finds it, and they come out with it. St. Joe gets in. Nice work from Ryan to knock that puck away at the last second. And Bryant gets it up to Harris. Refs miscommunicating. He's calling a one-man system now, icing, without the other guys indicating it. That's the one downside to having the two refs, is they forget they're also linesmen behind the plate. But it was the right call. So all is well, it ends well. 11:14 to go in the second, 2-0 Cardinals. St. Joe sends a puck into our zone. Battle behind the net. Male White comes out with it. Chipping it up the boards, running into some white jerseys. Help from Brooklyn Harris. Harris chips it up to the blue line. That looks like it went over the blue line, but close enough to say it's in. White to Manini to Fletcher, up to Bryant. Bryant chips that in the zone. I don't know if that was close enough. Just one step away from the red line. Icing called. Brooklyn gets it off the draw, gets it up to Jolie. Jolie cross ice for Carrington. Doesn't connect. Icing waved off because they didn't make the call. That's funny. Worked out in our favor this time. Might not next time. Manini and Angus battle at the hash marks. Manini comes out with it, circles back, gets it in front for Carrington. One-timer. Goalie got a piece of that. Puck goes behind the net. Now Brooklyn Manini keeps that in, gets a shot, glove save, rebounds loose in front. Picked up by St. Joe. This is one of their top players. She's got some wheels. But we're on her. Puck gets back in the zone. Brooklyn Manini finds it. Takes it behind the net. Hits the brakes. Gets it to Mayel. In Mayel's feet, she circles back. Gets that to Carrington. Carrington gets it out of the zone. St. Joe finds it in the neutral zone. Ooh, that's offside. Yeah. 9.5 minutes to go in the second. 2-0 Cardinals. St. Joe gets the puck in. Knocked back to Kaylin. She fires it up center, tries to get that to Bryant. That's knocked out of the air by St. Joe. Pass in front, intercepted by Cole. Chevrier ties up in the corner. Support from Bryant. 2-on-2. St. Joe sends it behind the net. Judd gets there. Sends that around the boards. St. Joe keeps it in at the blue line. Cross-ice pass. They get a slap shot that comes around. St. Joe keeps that in at the blue line, sends it behind the net. Chevrier with some pressure. And she chips that around. Ryan chips it out of the zone. Won't make an icing. St. Joe picks it up in their own zone. Pressure from Jay Cole and Alyssa Bryant. Cross-ice pass. Finds St. Joseph. They enter the zone. Pass in front, doesn't connect. And now Chevrier chips it up the glass. It's kept in by St. Joe. Now Bryant finds it at the blue line. Dumps it out. Bryant gets manhandled, but keeps it going, gets it into the zone. St. Joe finds it in the corner, chips it up. Judd keeps it in at the blue line. Oh. It's inside. The shot came from inside. St. Joe clears the puck out. Emma Plante gets it back in the neutral zone, chips it up to Harris. Harris gets it deep in the zone. Puck comes around the side. St. Joe's trying to get it out. Angus stopping her at the hash marks. Puck gets back to the blue line. Plante keeps that in. Now come around the other side. St. Joe gets the red line and dumps it in. Emma gets the puck behind the net. Leaves that for White. White chips it up out of the zone. St. Joe sends that back in. Chloe plays it for Emma. Emma up to Brooklyn. Brooklyn chips it up over the blue line. Centers that for Fletcher. Fletcher gets that in the zone. Angus with some pressure, help from Manini, and Plant keeps that in. Hits some skates. St. Joe finds it, turns, starts to come out with it. They dump it in after the red line. In the corner, White gets the puck, double teamed, and St. Joe comes out with it. Now Avery supports her, gets that puck back. Kept in by St. Joe. And Mail gets it behind the net. Nice little reverse, dodges a player, gets it up to Alyssa. Alyssa cuts through center. Centers that, just out of the reach of Avery. Icing called, I guess, a little late, but by the wrong guy. But more or less the right call. All right, Judd gets it off the draw, fires it up to Palizé. St. Joseph keeps it in. Now Judd gets it up to Bryant. Bryant through the neutral zone, finds Palizé. Carrington gets to the blue line. Getting some help from Ryan. Puck's deep in the zone. Come around the side, Carrington keeps that in. Sends it down low. Puck comes back to Ryan. Ryan at the blue line. Cuts down. Tries to work it out front, hits the skate. Bryant finds it behind the net. Bryant kicks it over. Puck comes out to Chevrier. Chevrier cross ice. Back into St. Joseph territory. St. Joe chips it up center. Bryant intercepts that pass. Regroups in the neutral zone. Then dumps it deep. Manini gets the puck in the corner. Tries to walk out with it, gets a little hook. Cole keeps that in, gets that to Angus. Her shot deflected by Jenna Cole in the net. Manini to Angus to J. Cole with the baseball swing. That puts the Cards up 3-0. Just like they practiced. 5:12 to go in the second period. St. Joe takes the puck behind their net, chip it up the hash marks. Pressure from Shea, and Angus keeps it in. Now Brooklyn Manini keeping it in. And Angus, but now it bounces out. St. Joseph comes up into the zone. Puck cleared away by Chloe. Angus chips it to the blue line. They keep it in. St. Joe tries this trick shot, doesn't work. Puck goes behind the net, and Chloe hangs onto that. The old fake pass almost got us off guard, but not today. 4:35 to go in the second. 3-0 Cardinals. Puck goes behind the net. Ryan picks it up. Reverses off the boards to Fletcher. Up to Bryant. Bryant over the blue line. It gets knocked away by St. Joe. They send it up center. Oh, we're going to get a penalty. Two for trip. .4:10 to go in the second. Power play for St. Joseph. They go D to D, and Angus intercepts that pass and puts herself on a breakaway. Angus coming in, nice little backhand in. Holy Mackinac, we got a short-handed goal. Jolie Angus tucking it in on the backhand. 11 seconds into the penalty. St. Joe clears that down. Ice and waved off for some reason. St. Joe keeping that in the zone. They pick up the puck behind the net. St. Charles, nice box formation down low. St. Joe brings it to the blue line. That shot off the blocker of Chloe. Rebound picked up by Jolie. She chips it up the boards. St. Joe keeps that in. Carrington keeps the pressure going. Now Mael in the way. Puck comes back to the blue line. They take a slap shot. That's blocked by Mael. Pass, backdoor, can't connect. Chloe blocks the other pass across. Emma battles. Puck comes back to the blue line. St. Joe sends it cross ice. Oh, she lost her net guard. Deflection into the glove of Chloe. .39 seconds to go in the penalty. 2:49 in the second. 4-0 for the Cardinals. Shots fired. That's deflected in front and goes wide. Into the corner. Now down low goes the puck. To the blue line, back down low. Judd gets it behind the net, fires it up. St. Joe keeps it in at the blue line. Try to walk in. They get a pass out front, blocked by Avery. Shot saved by Chloe. Loose puck. Puck is still loose. Jay Cole coming in. Clears it away. Kept it at the blue line, but now we're back to 5-on-5. Judd fires that down the ice. We'll get an icing there and regroup with 2 minutes to go in the second.
That wasn't a bad idea, actually.
Yeah.
Regroup a bit.
Yeah. Let's take a breather.
Yeah.
St. Joe, some pressure on that last penalty kill, but Cardinals kill that off. Now Jay Cole hands it off to Alyssa Bryant. Bryant back to Cole. Can't get the shot, but she puts that in front. Manini finds it. Manini keeping possession. Gets tied up. Puck comes back to Chevrier. She gets a piece of it. Gets it back under control and sends it deep in the zone. Minute 30 to go in the second period. Pressure from the Cards, keeping the puck behind the goal line. In comes Bryant. Chevrier pinches, keeps it in. Can't get a shot. Finds Cole in front. Cole also tied up. Her shot saved. That comes off. 1-2-2 left in the second. Off the draw, we send it back to the blue line. Comes back for Mael White. White to Manini. Back for White. Manini helping her out, a little tie up. St. Joe gets the puck back in our zone with 1 minute to go in the second. Their shot blocked by Brooklyn Manini. Loose puck behind the net. Brooklyn finds it, chips it up the boards. Raina Fletcher racing after it. Comes back to Brooklyn Manini. She's got a second. Sends it out of the zone. St. Joe in the neutral zone. Surrounded by Birds. Sends that puck up to Mael. Mael gets it deep in the zone with 35 seconds to go in the second. 4-0 Cardinals. Fletcher keeping that in the zone. Help from Shea. She stands her ground. Puck comes out to the neutral zone. Brooklyn Manini sends it back over the red line for Brooklyn Harris. The old Brooklyn to Brooklyn pass. Shot on net, steered away. Oh, we almost got too many players there, but we're all good. Avery keeping that in the zone. 8 seconds on the board. St. Joe just going to slow it down. We're going to let them run the clock out, and that's the end of the second period. We'll get a flood now, I hope. And yeah, I hear the Zamboni. See. All right, here we go. Third period action. .15 to go in the third. 4-0 Cardinals. Puck's dumped into our zone off the draw. Got a battle behind the nets. Chevrier gets hit pretty hard there. Yeah. All right, we got a 2-minute head contact. Power play for St. Joe's, 14:43. Angus gets that over the blue. Nice battle down low. Angus and Chevrier keeping them outside. St. Joe sends it back to the blue line. Down low. Shot, big save off the stick of Chloe. Angus fires that down. 45 seconds gone from the penalty. Palize gets a shot. They dump the puck in the zone. We send it out. Jenna Cole finds it in the neutral zone. Dumps it down low to Avery. Avery in the corner. Tying up. Nice penalty kill from Avery. 5 seconds gone there at least. Now we got 35 seconds to go on the penalty. Puck's in the neutral zone. St. Joe hands it off. Stay on side. Pass out front. Doesn't connect. Bryant picks up the loose puck, gets that over the blue line. It's dumped back in. Bryant picks it up, 20 seconds on the penalty. Gets that to White. White sends it all the way down. Puck comes back in our zone as the penalty expires. Bryant picks up the puck, sends that around to White. White gets that to Manini. Manini to Shea. Cross ice to Cole. Cole gets it in the zone. Blocks the shot from St. Joe's, and now Carly Shea with some pressure. St. Joe circles back. Coming up through center. J. Cole stops her. Chevrier chips the puck away over the blue. St. Joe in the neutral zone, re-enters, gets a shot. Chloe sends that away, and Ryan picks up the loose puck. Ryan around for Carly. Carly sends that cross ice out of the zone. Jenna picks it up at center, chips it in. St. Joe sends it the other way. Shot blocked by Ryan. Ryan gets the puck behind the net. Ryan ties up in the corner, gets some support from Reyna. Then comes Judd, gets the puck to Ryan, across to Carly. Cross ice, Jenna chips it in the zone. Jenna Cole gets it behind the goal line, behind the net, works out front, ends up with a shot off the St. Joe player, kicked it into their own goalie by accident. 11-11 to go in regulation time. 4-0 Cardinals. Back and forth, down low. Angus sends it back to White. White sends it back down low. Puck comes back to White. She fires that on net. Blocked by St. Joe. Angus keeping that in the zone. Support from Harris. Now St. Joe comes out of the zone. Enters Cardinal territory. They get a shot. Chloe handles that. And Plante sends the puck up to Harris. Harris entering the zone. Gets it in front for Manini. Her shot hits the side of the net. Harris gets it back out front for Angus. Her shot deflected in the corner. Manini to Angus. Back to Ryan. Ryan across to Kalen. Kalen down low for Avery. Avery trying to tuck that in. Puck comes out. Ryan gets it back. Chevrier up through the neutral zone. Gets the red line, dumps it in. Judd gets a piece of it at the blue line. Gets some help from Chevrier. And puck's dumped into our zone. Chloe hangs onto that with pressure on the way. 9:38 to go in regulation. All right, and puck's in the zone. Bryant battles in the corner. Judd helping her out. Chip it up to the blue line and comes out. Carly Shea with pressure in the neutral zone. Nice pressure from Carly. Gets it, fires a shot just a little high. Bryant on the rebound. Bryant driving the nets. Gets hooked, gets a shot. Puck goes in the corner. Out comes St. Joe's. They come into the zone. But Ryan Chevrier ties her up and Kalen throws the puck away. St. Joe's tries to re-enter. Cards stop it. Ryan Chevrier picks it up. Chips it out of the zone. That was offside. Puck comes in. Shot saved by Chloe. Judd on the rebound. Send that cross ice. Icing going to be called. And as Ryan Chevrier comes off the ice, I'll take a second to wish her a happy 17th birthday, Ryan Chevrier. Off the draw, comes in front of the net. White sends that away. Puck's behind the net now. Manini battling. Getting help from Cole. St. Joe finds it in the corner. They circle it back. Try to get to the blue line, but Jay Cole intercepts that pass. Cross ice to Fletch. Reyna into the zone. Dumps it in after the blue line. Gets some help from Avery. Around for Jay Cole. She works that back to Mel White. White sends it deep in the zone. Manini finds loose puck, circles in the slot, turns a couple times, can't get that shot going, and St. Joe heads out with it. St. Joe gets the red line, dumps it in. Chloe sends that in the corner. Now we dump it in. Icing called. 7.5 minutes to go in regulation. Puck is in the corner. St. Joe trying to get in front of the net. Ryan ties up. Bryant gets the puck. Bryant to Harris. Cross ice into St. Joe territory. Angus with some pressure. St. Joe breaks behind the net. Send that up center. But in comes Chevrier. She gets that back into the zone. Behind the net. Puck cleared out by St. Joe's. Icing called. Bryant to Plant. She keeps that in. St. Joe sends it out, and Plant sends it right back in. Carrington in the corner with some pressure, keeps it down low. Help from Bryant, puts it out front, cleared away by St. Joe. Carrington picks it back up. Off the boards to Bryant, back for Carrington. Oof, Carrington gets crushed with a cross check. Poor Carrington, that same corner, she's getting beat up down there. Body check is the call. 2-minute power play with 6.5 minutes to go. Carly Shea sends that cross to Emma. Emma gets that to Carrington. Carrington into the corner with Alyssa. Alyssa behind the net. Oh, a fake pass, and she gets a shot, deflected. Picked up by Carly. She puts that back out front. Picked up by St. Joe's. They dump that down with 1.5 minutes to go in the penalty. Mel White into the corner, forces it. Mel keeping that pressure going. Against support from Bryant. Puck comes out front. Big save from Chloe. Now Avery battling after it. Gets it to Shea, up to Bryant. Bryant gets in, shot made, save is made. Rebound picked up by Bryant behind the net. Minute to go in the power play. Bryant's in the corner, tries to cut out front. Gets it over to Shea. Shea back to Bryant. To Chevrier. Over to Alyssa. Alyssa gets a shot. Goalie makes the save. Rebound is loose. Picked up by St. Joe. They fire it up the ice. Ryan keeps that in. A little birthday luck. And Manini gets it in the corner. Manini in the high slot. Cycles it down low to Shea. Shea to Bryant. Bryant gets the shot blocked. It's cleared out by St. Joe's. Judd picks it back up. We're offside. We're back onside. Judd chips that across. We're onside. You're onside. Puck comes out front. St. Joe's picks it up. We're back to 5-on-5 hockey. Judd squeezes her in the corner, gets the puck up to Avery. Avery to the blue line, gets it out. St. Joe gets it back in the neutral zone. Judd up center to Harris, Cole. J. Cole gets a piece of it to avoid the icing, puts it out front. Comes all the way back from Al White. White to Brooklyn Manini. Brooklyn Manini up center to Avery Manini. Avery through the neutral zone, enters, fires a shot, deflected out of bounds. 3:47 to go in regulation. Mel keeps that in off the draw. St. Joe's sends it into the corner. They start to break out, but Fletcher gets a stick on that. Avery Manini and Janicola some pressure as well, but puck comes out. Mel stops her in the neutral zone, forces them to dump it in. Brooklyn Manini picks up the puck behind the net. She's got some pressure, gets it to White. White to Fletcher. Fletcher keeping control. Gets that back up to White. White through the neutral zone, hands it off to Manini. Manini enters. Nice little toe drag. Gets that to Cole. Her shot saved. Rebound into the corner. Cleared away by St. Joe's, but Brooklyn keeps that in. Gets that to Avery. Avery walks out. Can't get the shot. Gets the puck to Jolie. Jolie's pass intercepted by St. Joe's. St. Joe gets the red line, dumps it in. 2.5 minutes left in regulation time. 4-0 Cardinals. They get the puck out of the zone. That's offside. Yeah. Our next game will be at noon against St. Thomas Aquinas. Angus gets the puck off the draw into the zone, fires it on net. Goalie sends it behind the net. St. Joe's get it back in their zone. They chip it up. Judd gets it at the blue line, sends it back in the zone. Harris keeping that in the zone. Driving the net with it now. Harris, one-man show. Brooklyn Harris steals the puck, walks in, and puts it top corner. All right, we're over the Sellies. We're just going to line up now. It's not our first time. I think Brooklyn and Jenna both have 2-goal performance today. And Chevrier dumps it in the zone. St. Joe's behind the net, starting to break out with it. Come up to the neutral zone. Angus on the back check, gets some help from Chevrier. Judd sends that around the boards. St. Joe's keeps it in at the blue line, but Carly Shea knocks that out. Gets some help from Brooklyn Harris in the neutral zone. Brooklyn and Carly enter the zone. A couple white jerseys in the way. Brooklyn works it out front. Blocked by St. Joe's. Puck comes out. Judd keeping her outside. Pass in front, blocked by Bryant. She skates that out of the zone, takes a trip, keeps it going. We're not going to get that call. Up 5-0 with 1 minute left in regulation time. Bryant chips that up to the blue line. Raina Fletcher gets it into the neutral zone. Fletcher gets it into the corner. Pass, tries to get that to Bryant and finds Bryant. Bryant back to Mael White. White across the blue line, walks in, hands it back to Alyssa. Alyssa into the high slot. Drop pass from Mael. Mael has got the lane. Her shot blocked by someone in front. Fletcher gets a shot. Rebound into the corner. Bryant in the corner working at it. She's got support from Palizade. They put a puck out front. St. Joe's intercepts that pass. Carrington forces the play, gets that to Mael. Mael dumps it back in. Bryant chips it down low with less than 10 seconds to go. Big start to OFSSA for your St. Charles Cardinals with a 5-0 statement performance game here. Like I said, we'll be back at noon against St. Thomas Aquinas. Yeah. See you then.